to our Monday night live. Let us begin with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for yet another session, and we ask for your continued mercies to be extended to keep our connection stable. And even for the information we're about to discuss, we pray that it would be beneficial to many who need it most. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Right, so welcome everyone to our session today, and we do look forward to another informative segment. Our topic of discussion, it is on diabetes type 2, because it's the more common type of diabetes that individuals will have within our society, and we're particularly focused on diet and lifestyle this evening. We have had previous sessions where we looked at what diabetes is all about, the causes, the symptoms, and today we're getting into what can I eat and what should I be doing or not doing, and even in some of these lifestyle factors, looking again as how, it might be a contributor to maintaining a diabetes status. One of the things I want to reiterate is that diabetes is reversible. It is. And thank God you don't have to be a diabetic for the rest of your life. Neither do you have to be on medication for the rest of your life, provided that we get it within good timing and that you don't suffer from organ damage in the later stages, as it would. So even then, by optimizing a healthy diet and lifestyle, that can make a big difference for us. So diabetes, welcome. I'm speaking to you from True Health Lifestyle Center located in Trinidad and Tobago. Here we're healing the whole body, mind, the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. And we actually have a long weekend activity going on now. Quite soon we will have our March residential program. Our bigger master programs, that is where individuals who are considering using natural remedies to help their particular health challenge, then they can consider coming to the center. Here, you will get individuals who would work with you. You'll get all your questions answered, and even that would help you to find solution for your condition. And so the program, while we have it in a group setting, it is still tailored for the specific treatments that you would get, specific teas, supplements that would be recommended to you, your specific consultation. You would do your lab work, and we would work through that with you. And any other supporting kind of input, medical professional, health professional input that you would need, that can be identified and help you to have that kind of support going forward. Sometimes you might need physiotherapy, you might need a chiropractor, you might need, those other kinds of supportive agencies. So here we are, have a couple announcements for certain things that we engaged in. Coming up later next week, this is where we have our cancer support group. So it's every month, last Thursday in the month, when we will meet and as a group and discuss a segment, a topic on cancer, and the individuals can share about what works for them, what doesn't. And as I learn from individuals, as to what's happening with them when they apply some of these natural remedies and recommendations that we would make, and they go away and they work on themselves, they come and they give us feedback. And so we have, more up-to-date information to share with you over time. As I come across new research, I'm able to bring that to the forefront. So the cancer space support group gives us that space where we can have this as a continuous discussion. So try and join the WhatsApp group if this is of interest to you or someone whom you'd like to refer the group to. It is international, so it's all done online. This is what I mentioned earlier about our health retreat coming up. And then on the first Tuesday of every month, we have our diabetes support group. And that is an extension of our topic tonight, where we get down in some granular discussion about diabetes, and individuals in that space will have diabetes, or just of interest, or that they're working with someone who have diabetes, or they just want information to share back in their communities, in their churches. And so this is another space where we would meet monthly. So again, there's a WhatsApp group for this one that you can join, so you get the invites, and you can participate. So just a sneak peek as to what's happening here at the center today. I am an aqua fitness instructor. Did you know that? And I'm so proud that I was able to instruct a class today, because it's not something that I normally would do. When we have our residential program, one of our team members lead in this area, which is fine. But when I have to do it, it just clicks in. So I had the folks working out, look at them just having their fun there. Yeah, they were happy. Um, let's see, we have another one. This one is going to be noisy. You hear me? Oh, it's slow motion. Wow. Okay. So they were playing, like I told them, they were taxi. Um, and so the legs, they would be paddling. Let me turn the volume there. Yeah, the legs, they would be paddling, and so they're holding on to each other. But the person at the front, is just telling them, keep moving, because that person at the front would feel the weight behind. So that's what we were up to today. So much fun. Then we did some other things like salt glow and sauna. Then we had our topic discussion. Yeah, this is a nice one. Okay, so, oh, we're not there yet. Let me switch this slide back. All right, so let's get into our topic of discussion. I hope I've been enticed you enough to want to come to be a part of my class. Doing exercise in the water is so much fun, and at the same time, you're getting your body moved. You're able to do a whole lot more than you can do on land. Like I was on the top deck and demonstrating jump in one spot, but for them it's like easy. And I'm like, "Are you guys tired?" They're like, "No, we're good. We're in water." I wasn't, and they're getting the buoyancy of the water to help them to make it easier. Okay, so let's stop screen there, and let me reshare this one. All right, so this is where we got to last day, where we stopped. We looked at the wake-up call if you do have diabetes. And we talked about the symptoms. We looked at the causes, and asked individuals to think about what might be the cause, what can possibly be the item or more that's feeding their problem as a diabetic, and what they can do differently. And so today we want to look at what you can do differently. But we also cautioned, please do not wait until you're blind, losing your eyesight, or that you lose a limb, or get a heart attack, or kidney function fails on you, which is quite common. So we want to make sure that we act now. Diabetes can kill you, unfortunately. If we allow it to just stay in our body, it can have complications to it, like we mentioned, a heart attack or a stroke. So if you get that, then the end result may be death. So let's not wait until something severe happens. You're in an emergency room and now making all the resolutions to change. Let's do it earlier when it's peacetime. And in that way, you can actually save yourself from a lot of suffering, and even save yourself from early death. Now, how to turn off the faucet. How do we turn off the faucet? Using our diet. So what am I talking about? The faucet method is where you're looking at a condition and sort of using the analogy of a faucet. Question to you. Now, listen, I want you to respond to this question. If I came to your home and there is a tap that's dripping, and the tap is dripping water into a sink. The sink is clogged. The water is dripping, drip, drip. What do you think is going to happen? It's soon going to fill up and run over, and water will be all on the floor. Now, what should I do to clean this up? Hello and welcome, Miss Bishop, all the way from New York. Okay, so someone says, turn the water off. Okay, so right, follow. The water has been dripping. It's filled the sink, but why? Because the sink is clogged. So it's now over. What should I do in it? What should I do? Should I grab a mop and start mopping up? What should I do in its order? Okay, turn the faucet off, turn the water off. What next? Okay, so we turn the water off
Fix
and
the
what?
leak. Fix the leak.
Fix the leak. Yeah, it's a little washer inside of there that needs fixing. It could be so annoying and tripping pipe. Okay, so good. What do we do again? I mean, the place is in a mess. So what can we do again? Anyone? Mm-hmm. Unstop the sink. Very good. And then mop it up. Excellent. So clear the sink, mop it up. Wonderful. So this is the method that you would need to use in reversing disease. Turn off the faucet. Turn off the source. What is causing this? Turn off the source. Unplug the sink. So we're turning off the source today with our diet because you would see the top cause for diabetes type 2 is our diet. High fat in our diet. Fat on the body, diet again. So turn off the faucet with our diet. Unplug the sink with our lifestyle. And mop it up with the herbal agents and any supplements that might be herbal that you can use. All right, so let's get into it. How could we stop that faucet? Turn off the faucet, turn off the water. Here's a little one-pager guide. The goal here for us is to reduce the intake of dietary fat. Okay, and we look at what that is. Reduce the intake of dietary fat, reduce the intake of processed simple sugars. So you will have sugar that exists in fruit. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the processed sugar that you would add to your nice blend of mango drink. Even though as a diabetic, we would say eat the mango rather than drink the mango. But so the sugar that you can add in making some dessert for you to eat, it doesn't have to have that added sugar. Let's use our fruit. And then we want to reduce the intake of our grain. So we're not going to consume juice. We're not going to consume any item where you have the sugar added, and processed grains, the refined grains, the flour will pose a problem. The cornmeal, corn is one story in itself, but from the time we start breaking it down, cream of wheat, all of those things are processed grains. We want to watch that. And then increase our intake of fiber. That's huge and very helpful. And we're looking for fiber on that plate. And then we also want to consider our glycemic load and glycemic index. And we'd look at that a little bit too. So what are the foods to reduce the fat intake? So here we have fat coming from the animal foods. So I mentioned in an earlier session that there are times when we look at these animal foods and we think we're eating them for protein, and it's all about protein. It's not all about protein. There are also fat content in it, a large portion of it. And many times you see individuals, I tell people, you eat flesh, you put on flesh. You want to lose weight, you can't be eating the flesh items. You're going to just keep it there because there's a lot of fat in it. So the major calories in these items will be fat. And this is pork. That's like loaded with fat. You have fat in these beef and the chicken and so on. Okay. Hi. Mr. Fitzroy watching from New York. Good. I hope you're nice and cozy behind the screen. All right. We look at more meat. So different ways in which you prepare it. You can bake it, steam it, roast it. Worse yet, if it's fried, it's going to be fat content. You're watching this, yeah, but you're probably saying, but it's not greasy. It has the fat in the tissue. Okay, so we want to remove that. And what about the milk? Nice creamy dairy milk. Nice creamy chocolate. Nice creamy yogurt. And all of these creamy, milky items. So the animal foods, their byproducts, they do carry fat content in it. Read the label and you would see it, saturated fat. We want to move away from that saturated fat. Why? Does anybody remember why? I want you to tell. You can unmute your mic. You can write it in the chat. Why are we looking at removing that fat? How can that,
Clogs the cells.
it
Clogs the
plugs
cells.
of the cell, right? We talked about that. Great. So it can clog up the cells of our liver cells, our muscle cells, and we want to stop adding fuel to the fire. So as we remove these items from our dietary intake, you automatically begin to see less fat being consumed, and those cells will get a chance to shake up and clear themselves because of the fiber that you're now going to add. You're going to give the body a chance to remove that high fat from the bloodstream. Okay, so we're looking at some more. The dairy milk here and the butter. This butter has a label, all vegetable oils, no cholesterol. Okay, so someone might say, well, that should be good. And let's see, it also says free from something up here, free of trans fat. That's good because that has been one of the items that we needed to be cautious about, trans fat, but the FDA has sent out a notice a few years now to say remove trans fats from the foods but people are still allowed a little percentage, and the one, that they talk about any high values will certainly need to be identified and refrained from. So this butter said no trans fats and no cholesterol. What do you think? Is that a good one that we can have? Anyone, what do you think? What is anything wrong with this butter? Should
No,
we?
still fat. It's still the oil of the fat is
Animal,
still
it's still
clogged.
animal product.
An animal, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, good, because this cheese here says cheddar cheese, but I would think we might want to look for the one that says vegetable or vegetarian cheddar cheese. So what about that one? I mean, that's a big question that comes. What about the vegetarian cheddar cheese? Is that one helpful?
No,
Let's see.
No,
they
no.
tend to have a lot of preservatives in them
Uh-huh.
and strange names of things that we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I have another slide pack
They
somewhere.
sometimes have caseins in there, which is like an animal product, but sometimes you don't realize it has the casein in there.
Yeah. vegetarian. Uh-huh. Just looking, just pulling it up, because many times I have another slide pack with it, but no, I showed the ingredients in there. So let me stop share and see if we can find it together, because this is what I would want you to do, to check and read your labels. So let's pull one, maybe this one. It's sort of on the side, but hopefully, oh, close. So, hopefully it works. It's a bit blurred, but I know what it is, right? So I can tell you. It says processed milk, pasteurized milk, pasteurized milk. This isn't a good label for us. This isn't a good one. Let's go back. That's that. Maybe this one. Yep. Maybe if I had pulled it up, you would have seen it. Okay. So pasteurized milk, salt, culture, and coagulating enzymes contains milk. It still says milk. Ingredients, leaches. So it goes on to give us some different language. Look at the percent of cholesterol. Talked about where do we find cholesterol in animal foods and their byproducts, and that plant foods have no cholesterol. Okay, plant foods have zero, no cholesterol. So if that milk was coming from a plant source, then that cholesterol would not have been in there at all. And then it has sodium at 30%. So even this, that it says vegetarian cheddar cheese, it's still not a safe one. And then look at the fat. First item at the top, total fat, a 13%. And then saturated fat, because it's coming from animal source, 30%, 30. So right away, you know, that's not an option. So we have to start looking at making our own cheese. And we can make that from a nice nut or something like that. So the vegetarian cheddar cheese, though it says it's vegetarian, it is not. What they use is vegetable rennet. Other labels will show that. And vegetable rennet to help curdle it up. But other than that, it's not an item. So what's in the box? You know, that goes up with a little fried chicken. And then you have these cakes, all of these icing. It's sugar. As for diabetes, no sugar like this, but also it's greasy, a lot of fat in it, because they would have blend that butter in there. Okay, so question, right? Someone identified too much sodium and fat in the labeled item. Okay, dairy-free yogurt is a question. Okay, so if it's dairy-free yogurt, it may be possible that you can have, but again, look at the fat content. So read the label and see what the fat, how much fat is in there, because it could be from coconut milk. And there you have saturated fat in coconut. So you'd still want to stay away from that, because we continue to feed the problem. And so we need to watch the fats, we need to watch the oils. So sodium as well, we need to look at. Yep. Yeah. So Ms. Bishop, she did confirm it's coconut yogurt. No, because coconut has saturated fat just like the animal foods. It will still be a problem. I make my own milk. I'm yet to start the cheese. Okay, I need to get you a nice cheese. recipe if you don't have any, but please go ahead. Starter cheese. Today we had macaroni pie, and the folks were so excited, and it did have cheese sauce in there. Okay. Next, avoid excessive fat. So even though we get fat in here, in our almond, in our avocados, we don't want to have this oil, and even the almond, nice moderate portion. Tell you put the almond nuts into your hand and close your hand, and you're going to get a closed handful of the almond nuts, and that's it. That you can have at the end of breakfast, you can have at the end of lunch. However, I will be one that would want to check your blood work. And if I see your cholesterol level is high and you're not shifting from that to get it within normal range, I know that there's something going on, and you may just be having too much of the healthy fats. And there are so many times when I'd remove oil from the diet of individuals when they have cardiovascular disease, if they have diabetes, if they are at risk for getting a heart attack or a stroke, or if they have had such, I pull the oils out because we can't take chances of their cells clogging and being blocked with the fat, or of their blood vessels being inflamed with these oils and causing problems. So we can get our vitamin E from other source, like the nuts. And even here again, huge amount of caution, because if we overdid on our nuts, as healthy as it is, it will still cause problems. There are times when I pull the nuts from people and I just leave them with the seeds, with the pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, as opposed to having the nuts, because I want to see them improve in their blood work. It tells us a lot there. So when it comes to diabetes, we will even say, let's remove the oil as well. What would you cook your food in? In water. Let water be your liquid that you're pouring into the pot to cook your meal. Oil has a special taste and flavor and smell that it adds to the food. But a lot of the times, the ways in which we're preparing our food, it is cultural. This is how I learned to do it. This is how my parents did it. This is how we did it at home. It's cultural, and it may not be healthy. So we don't really need to add oil to our diet. And remember, reduce the intake of fats. So if what you were doing before led you to be diabetic, we need to pull some things. We can't continue doing the same diet as we did. We need to take some things, make a change to the diet. All right, so let's see. What about cashew nuts? Can we use it instead of almond nuts at times? Certainly. You can use cashew. Again, moderation. And I make cashew milk and soy milk. Wonderful. Is almond nuts more nutritious than cashew in the case of prediabetes? It can, because of two types of nuts that has saturated fat in them. Now, we mentioned coconut has saturated fat, but there are two nuts that has saturated fat in them, and they are cashew nuts and Brazil nuts. Yeah. So they're really good, nice, healthy item. But if you're watching to reduce saturated fat, and it's really to get us cleaned up, clear out of the situation, that we go to these drastic measures, I would say. Just drastic because it just means pulling a certain number of items, but you still have a whole lot more food. And yeah, isn't cashew high in cholesterol? Okay. I did a whole lecture series on cholesterol, and in there you would see the nuts. So let's just talk about it briefly. Does anyone remember what did we say about nuts? Okay, so Sister James, she's saying no, it's not high in cholesterol. Let me see. All the folks, do you agree that nuts have no cholesterol? And the olives here, do you agree or disagree? What do you think? Does nuts have cholesterol in it? Yes or no? Does the olive oil have cholesterol
They're
in it?
plant-based, right? So I would think they don't have cholesterol because they're plant-based, and you stated that cholesterol is from the animal products, so they're not
Uh,
animal products.
all
They may
right.
be high in saturated fat, but not cholesterol,
Not
I
not
don't think.
not cholesterol. No. Okay, excellent. And so what is the mechanism that can still cause the cashew to increase our cholesterol? That when you use the oil in your cooking, whether it be soybean oil, olive oil, coconut oil, why would it still raise your cholesterol? You go to do your blood work and your cholesterol level is high. Why is that? And you say, but no, animal food. Why? Why is it?
Too much of it.
Huh?
Sluggish. It clogs the cells, and again, it just builds up in the system.
Okay. All right. Anyone, anything more? It's a little mechanism.
Saturate, it has a I can't even say it.
Mhm.
Saturated fat. I'm sorry.
What has saturated fat?
The nuts can have saturated fat.
It can. Okay, some of the nuts can. So the question is, why would be why when we use plant-based oil or we use nuts, your cholesterol level may go up. If you use coconut milk, your cholesterol level could go up. So granted, cholesterol has the saturated fat in it, fine. But the thing is, your liver, your liver, your liver will produce cholesterol as it will normally do. However, our food speaks to our body, the intake, the quantity of food that we ingest will speak to the body. So, what type of food? The quantity of food. So, from the time we have fats coming in, be it from the animal source or even if it's from a plant source, you have a food item that's predominantly fat and it has fat content in it, however little, your body will hear and recognize that fat. So your liver has to produce cholesterol to make an item called bile. Bile is produced by your liver stored in the gallbladder. Bile is used to emulsify fat, to break down fat. Bile, B-I-L-E. When bile is used to break down fat that we ingest, be it in the almond nuts, the cashew nuts, the coconut yogurt, whatever form the fat is in, or even in the oil, we fry food or we saute or mix items, oil into the food, your liver has to produce cholesterol. Cholesterol, why? Because it's part of the ingredients that's necessary for the production of bile. And the more fat we eat, higher concentrations of fat we eat, the more cholesterol the liver will need to produce. So once it's produced, it's in the bloodstream, your cholesterol level is high. And that's was to answer the question about that cashew nut has cholesterol. No, but the cashew nut, when ingested, will cause your liver to produce cholesterol to break down the fats in the cashew. Okay, so you can see that in our lecture on the cholesterol levels. So the liver and brain make cholesterol. Gallbladder, I love biology. Okay, so yeah, and or if you do not have a gallbladder, that's okay. The liver will still produce the bile. The gallbladder is like a storage tank for the bile that would give more when when you need a lot more because of the high fat diet that you may have. However, the liver will still produce bile. It will just be dripping into the system because there's no tank to store it in. All right. So let's take a look at some other items. Care should be taken, however, not to use a large portion of nuts, coming from the book Ministry of Healing, page 298. So we would eliminate the oil in our diet as well. What about the sugar? So the sugar we want to remove, because if we consume these sugary items, our glucose levels will go up. You will get the sugar spikes. This is an example of refined simple sugars. So we want to run away from this place. No, don't stop. Don't look. It's not for you. It's not for any one of us. And what about the natural sweeteners? Blackstrap molasses, prunes, dates, raisins, all of those natural dried fruits. They have sugar content in them. They are natural. However, we want to avoid it in a diabetes situation because it will still cause the glucose to go high. And so the dried fruits, you have more concentration of sugars. You have fiber in there too, but we want to stay away from this until our situation is resolved, and then we would be better off with that. What about alcohol? No, no alcohol. Alcohol is sugar, and it's fermented item, sugary, and it will also break down our liver. Alcohol can cause your liver, can cause you to have liver damage. So no alcohol, no wine, no juice. As a diabetic, we do not drink juice. No juice drinking, because in here, this is some nice cherry juice. Okay, the West Indian acerola cherries that been picked, hand-picked from the tree, put into a blender with some water, blend, and then you squeeze and juice it. And this is nice. No added sugars. But where's the fiber in that drink? It's gone off in the strainer. And here, that's what we want. We want when you consume something that it comes in with the fiber so that you do not get the sugar spikes. Once you get the sugar spikes, you immediately call for a large amount of insulin to dilute that sugar, to try and move that sugar from the bloodstream. And then we're running into problems. So we don't want to drink the juice, eat the cherries, not to drink the juice. Eggs, again, will have fat content, and caffeine can cause problems for the diabetes. Okay. Let's see, what next? White rice. Here, white rice, because it's missing the fiber, that can cause the glucose to rise in the bloodstream. People who eat white rice on a regular basis have a significant increased risk of diabetes type 2. We preferably should be looking to eat whole grains, which are delicious. They're high in vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber. So that's what we would prefer to have and consume instead of the white rice. Let's go. What about refined bread? So this may be nice whole wheat bread, but it's processed. So that it's a processed grain. The wheat berries processed, and now we have the wheat bread. So this can cause your glucose level to rise. And if you have diabetes, you would know. You test your blood sugar, and what did you eat? You had some bread, it's gonna go up. Now, another thing to know is that whole wheat on itself, the wheat, it has a higher amount of glucose in the fiber. So in the fiber has some glucose content. And so 2 slices of whole wheat bread can raise your blood sugar even higher than 2 slices of plain white bread. Or it says you have a little chart like this. White bread has a glycemic index of 69. Whole grain bread has a glycemic index of 72. Wheat cereal, 67. Table sugar, 52. So the table sugar in itself, high in glycemic index, yes, but just know that the grain, the wheat, is sweet and it has a glycemic. So glycemic index is a number system given to certain foods to indicate how high of the glucose content that exists in that food. And as you look, you would see in certain types of foods with lower and less glycemic index, and that might be a helpful one for you. I'll pull up the glycemic index in a little while. So gluten-containing grains, also such as wheat, rye, barley, spelt, and kamut, once they have the gluten in them, which is that stretchy, starchy component that gives bread a chewy sensation, because the gluten-free bread don't have it. You bite into it, it breaks apart, it doesn't hold. But the gluten is the glue. It's what holds things together. And so once you're eating that, or these items tend to have a little bit higher amount of gluten, and that can have higher glucose content. Okay. So what are some of the foods to increase? And we want to eat fruits, vegetables. You're looking for fiber in your food, such as squash, and diuretic foods, celery, cauliflower, eggplant, parsley. You want to sort of excrete that glucose, and therefore you would drink more water and dilute the glucose and excrete it. So when we take these diuretic foods in, it helps us to urinate more, and with that goes some of that glucose content. So squash, pumpkin, our fruits we can have. Now, tropical fruits tend to be quite sweet, so we have, but in moderation. Citrus, you may have, but in moderation. Golden apple, papaya, apples, bananas, cherries, soursop, again, in moderate amounts, that not overly too much of it. And having the glycemic index, let me take a note to send you that in the chat. Glycemic index listing to send in the chat, so that you can have it, because that tends to give you a guide as to what are some of the things that have a lower glycemic index. That means it will not give you high sugar levels. Like cucumber, for example, has a very low glycemic index. That would not shift and cause your glucose numbers to go high. No, no, no. So if you're eating cucumbers, cucumber is also helpful to produce more insulin. So individuals with type 1 diabetes will do great if they ate cucumbers, okra. Those tend to help stimulate the production of insulin. So all of these nice foods will be options for us to choose from. Question: what if you freeze the cooked rice to make it sounds logical, because it's the same with the potato. The Irish potato, when you bake it, you cook it, it can send the glucose level high. But once it goes through, it's refrigerated and reheated, it makes it more starch resistant, and so it wouldn't have that high spike in the glucose, which is really good for some folks. Well, you can try it. If it is, try the cooked rice and refrigerate it and then reheat it and try it and see. It must be something that I can look at with the folks here at the center and see how it works for them, and then I'll know. So if you try it and tell me, or maybe if you have done that, if you've been doing that, then please confirm. Okay, so question, or you add lentils and quinoa to the rice to make it multigrain. Yeah, you can. You can. I see spelt flour and wheat. No, it's just to watch the amount. So these things can have a high glycemic index, and that's also it. So it can have a high glycemic index, but at the same time, quantity we need to watch, so not too much, and then have fiber foods in that meal so that you don't get the surge of the glucose coming into the bloodstream. All right, so it can have a good balance. So it's just something to watch. And then looking again, we can eat the spelt. We can look for eating the wheat, but again, on the skin of these items can have those sugars. Then the flour is processed. So we're looking to eat more whole grains, whole foods. Let's eat them in their whole state as opposed to in the broken state where they are flour now. It's blended down, it's processed. You have a higher concentration of refined products coming in. Okay, so question, should pre-diabetics use these items to make bread? So if you have pre-diabetes, you would want to do the same thing that someone with diabetes would do. So we would take a look at the glycemic index just now and run through that about cabbage. Cabbage is low on the glycemic index. I know it's like about 15. Cabbage is so low on the scale. So the vegetables tend to be quite friendly for diabetics because they are low in sugar content. Bitter melon, this is an excellent one that we would want to have. You have different names, bitter gourd, Kerala, or balsam pear. They tend to repair damage to the pancreatic beta cells or prevent their death. So the cell death, that is. So you'll find that the damage of the pancreatic beta cells that's responsible for producing insulin. So this is an item, again, that's greatly helpful to individuals who have type 1 diabetes. The bitter melon, it helps to prevent those beta cells from being damaged because they have the important role of producing insulin. So those insulin producing cells can be held really good with the bitter melon. And then if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, again, this is an item. It's so bitter, it's gonna take your glucose numbers down. And so using them like about 2-3 times for the week is helpful. You can also use it in a supplemental form. It shows up in some of those diabetes supplements and as part of the ingredients with other items, and it can help to reduce the glucose in the bloodstream. What about mangoes and bananas? Okay, how do you prepare that? It is so bitter. Well, it's the bitter you want. The bitter melon, it's the bitter you want. Uh, my chefs here prepare it. The young lady we had before, she used to do it and you would not taste bitter. I think she would sort of some people would soak it, throw the water off. Some people would boil it in the first boil and throw the water off, and then they come to cook the rest of it. But I could eat it fine, with no issues because my brain knows it's bitter, and you just once you season it up nicely and it has a good taste, it's good, and then you eat it as with the other food, and you're okay. But you want the bitter and you want it to help you. Should bitter melon be eaten uncooked? Mm-mm. Cook them. Cook them. Please cook them. I ate 4 small mangoes today. Wow, very good. It's coming into season. Okay. Yeah, so the the mangoes are helpful to prevent night blindness. Similarly, the bananas are helpful to prevent night blindness, especially with a diabetic, where the vision can become impaired and night blindness might set in. So having mangoes, having bananas. It doesn't need to be green. This is me just taking the opportunity to snap a picture here. But your mangoes need to be ripe. They need to be full. They need to be ripe, but not overly ripe. If they're matured and ripened nicely, like this one, and you slice and you peel them, and so it's not going to be overly sweet, you're good to go. Bananas, nice, they're ripe. We can eat the bananas. Again, don't eat a fruit plate if you have diabetes. All right, do not eat a fruit plate. And because you got no supporting sufficient amount of fiber in a fruit plate, we want to eat eat the fruit along with other food in order for us to get what we need. Okay, someone posted a question about Morbi. I can check that for you. I'm not sure if Morbi is helpful. Does anybody know if Morbi will make the glucose numbers go down? Looking here. Without the sugar. Uh-huh. Okay, without the sugar. Yeah, I see it here online. You know, it's a place we go to for quick look. It can help lower blood sugar, blood pressure, and reduce cholesterol. Yeah, the Morbi can help. Moringa can also help as one of those local things. Okay. And tofu, buckwheat is another grain. Again, eat it whole. Tofu, soybean, they're the same for legumes. But tofu is processed. Tofu is not the same as our soybean. Soybean has the fiber on it. Tofu does not. This is all blended down. So a little bit on the tofu, and if you had tofu, make sure on that plate you're seeing fiber, more fiber on that plate because tofu is processed. All right. Next, all forms of beans and whole grains. That will be our choice option for food. We have a wide variety of them. Kidney beans. Yep, we want kidney beans, and kidney beans you cook and you eat. Some people may use kidney beans for a tea, where you actually, you boil it for 15 minutes and then you leave it to draw, and the properties from that seed of the bean will be drawn in the water for you to drink, and that can help with your kidneys. Because a lot of times individuals, so for your kidneys, you want to protect, okay? Salt. We use salt in our diet, but looking for salt with iodine and trace minerals. So the pink Himalayan sea salt, if in its all natural state, should have all of the 84 trace minerals in them. And that would be quite healthy for everyone. Increased soluble fiber. So where would we get that? Okay, so question, could I use banana as a sweetener for my oats? If you slice up the banana, don't blend it. Don't blend the banana. You know what what we add on our oatmeal when we do the oatmeal with no sweetener in it. when we have the residential program, because you have people with different dietary needs. So we do the oatmeal, mix it up, and you add it in there, fine. But we take ripe plantain, and then we just simply add a little water and blend that ripe plantain raw. It doesn't have to be cooked, and it gives a sort of sweet sour taste, and it's now like a puree, and we sort of drizzle that on top of the oatmeal, and it tastes good. It tastes really good. You know, the brain like, oh, okay, something different. And that's one thing that we use. So it wouldn't be as sweet as a banana. I use half of a banana, use in moderation. Um, you okay, so you doing half of a banana, okay, but when I have folks here at the center, I tell them, I give them the whole banana to eat. And here's a trade-off. You're eating the banana with a meal that has fiber in it. Okay? Number one. Number two, you're eating whole food plant-based diet where you're going to get lots of fiber in your food. And even in your legumes, you're having your fiber in there. So imagine if if you were somebody was having a diet where they didn't have the legumes, they didn't have the peas, but they had piece of chicken instead. Where is the fiber in that? Zero. All right, so there's no fiber there. So the trade-off is I'm gonna eat my peas and beans, get the fiber, and then I can eat my entire banana and I will still be okay. All right. So on a total plant diet, there's no restriction with eating a whole banana. I would say we would need 3 bananas in a go. You still show some moderation, but you can still have the banana, you can still have the mangoes, you can still have the papaya, you can still have the soursop, you can still have any of the fruits, because the fruits are not eaten in isolation, they're eaten with fiber foods. And that's the balance that we get there. Okay. So soluble fiber found in plants, only in plants. Example here, oats, your brown rice, pectin. Where do we find pectin? In the apples, that white fiber. In our oranges, our citrus, the white part of that, you will get that pectin. Fiber, soluble fiber. In nuts, we have some soluble fiber. So these are excellent items that will be helpful even with diabetes. All these nuts, nice, but not to eat at once for anyone, not even if you have diabetes, but for anyone. We want to shake some of that nuts, just take up a little bit, put it into the hand, close the hand, close it tight, a closed handful of nuts at the end of our breakfast, at the end of our lunch meal is what we will have. And that would help to keep your sugar glucose levels balanced until your next meal time. So individuals would always come to the center and they would say, what, you're only giving us 2 meals? And they start to wonder. Some of them might even think twice. 2 meals, not 3? Well, yeah, just come, do the 2 meals, see how you feel, and if you do think you need a supper, let me know and we'll talk. And we feed the folks up with their breakfast and with their lunch meal. And when they eat, they are satisfied. There is no need for snacking, no desire for snacking in between. And they will eat their entire 2 meals and not look for a third. Pumpkin seed is also great for the situation of diabetes. Why? You're looking at a handful of pumpkin seeds or 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds. It needs to be unsalted. Unbaked, raw is better. Or if you lightly toast it, but raw is better. And it improves insulin production by 95%. So it's great for type 1 diabetics. Type 2 improves insulin production, the production of insulin, because it's loaded with zinc and all of those nice minerals. Eye damage reduction. So you have diabetes, eat pumpkin seeds. It helps to lower blood sugar levels. And it is rich in antioxidant that protects the cells, which is what we want, so that the cells do not become clogged up. So the antioxidants can help to sort of scavenge away some of the fat content there and around the cell. Can some pumpkin seeds be eaten daily? Yes, you can eat it daily. At what times do you recommend having the 2 meals? It depends on your schedule. If you have to be at work at a certain time, so morning and afternoon. You want your meals to be spaced out at least 5 to 6 hours. So you can do breakfast between 6 and 7, and then your lunch maybe between 1 and 2. You can do breakfast between 7 and 8, and your lunch between 1 and 2. You can do your breakfast between 8 and 9, and your lunch meal 5 hours later, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Your second meal between 2 and 3. In fact, there are studies that shows that the body does well and even great on 2 meals when the body is fed at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. So there was a study where they looked at timing, and those times were established, and that's what we use here at the center, 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Within that 1 hour between 8 and 9 and 2 and 3. So that's what we do for timing. Isn't that rice in the white rice category? There is no brown rice in the grocery. Oh my, I missed some questions. Okay, let's go. Oatmeal. Oatmeal with just almond milk without anything else to taste great. That it tastes great. Oh yes, it does. Should we eat the basmati rice if we did not get the brown rice in the grocery? If you have basmati brown rice, so take a look for basmati brown rice. What about red rice? Do you see that? Do you see red rice? Do you see black rice? So what I see for by me, we would get to the brown rice as well as the red rice, and then I mix them. Put it in a jar, put some brown, put some red, and I shake it up, and then we cook that together. So look out in the grocery, look out in the health food store. Is there a difference between oatmeal and Quaker oats? Oatmeal is the end product when you make your oats porridge. It's, so it's like the end of oats porridge. The Quaker oats helps you. The Quaker oats is a brand, and so the Quaker oats will make the oatmeal. You have rolled oats and you have quick oats. So the rolled oats will be the bigger grain one, and then the quick oats will be the smaller, refined, chipped down one. So, okay. If you're allergic to nuts, what else can you replace it with? Maybe you can have some seeds. If you can tolerate seeds, you can tolerate the pumpkin seeds, you can tolerate the sunflower seed, have pumpkin seed butter and sunflower seed butter. Then you would most likely have to do the coconut or a small amount of oil if it is olive oil, if you cannot do otherwise, or eat the olives. We use olives here at the center, and that's a nice item that you can have. Yeah. Okay, we're back. Catch up. What about pistachio nuts? Yes, you can use pistachio nuts. 1816 intermittent fasting. Uh, I sometimes don't like to see people eating when they're on two meals, because it works better for them. If they eat later, 3, 4, it may not work for them. Their digestion may be slow, so it's really just testing your body and seeing if it works for you, or if you get digestive issues, you need to bring your meal earlier, like 2 for the latest. What about wild rice? Excellent. Wild rice, combination of different rice grains.
Doc, sorry, I didn't hear what you said about the 1860. You got frozen, and I didn't hear what you said about that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even comment. I just saw it as an observation.
Oh, okay.
But because then it followed with the 9 and 3.
Yeah, you froze there. Can you repeat that for me, please? Sorry.
Okay, so yes, the 9 and 3 meals as 2 meals that can be acceptable, provided that it works well for the individual, that they have no digestive issues because they ate from 3 to 4. Yeah, so if it works well for them, then that's okay. That's fine. So the hours so after 3 to 4, so you start counting the hours when you finish eating. So if you finish say from by 4 o'clock, so from 4 p.m. to 9 a.m. is that long window of fasting. That's okay. That's good. Keep water, drinking your liquids in between. All right. And that's important, as I mentioned, water when it comes to diabetes. We want to remain hydrated. We want to keep that hydration up because water dilutes sugar. Now, onions, great food source that can help to lower blood sugar. Quercetin in the onion helps to do that. So 1 onion in food, your food that you can cook and eat, or if you have quercetin supplementally, or if you did onion in a drink blend. Like this week I've been doing ginger and onion, purple onion and ginger and some water, and just blend that. And then I scoop out by the tablespoons. It was about 6 or 10 tablespoons into a teacup, and put some hot water in it and let it draw. And I've been using that for some respiratory issues that my people have. Okay, so flaxseed and chia seeds, these are excellent. How much should we have? 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed and chia seeds, and you can have that with your food. Great source of omega-3 fatty acids that we need not go to the fish for. Okay, we do not need to eat fish for omega-3 fatty acids. You can get it in excellent amount. Good value with our flaxseed.
So, Doc, that would be 2 of each, or you can mix 1 and 1.
1 and 1. Yeah, you don't want to overdo it, even though it's good.
I want to make sure I don't give her too much. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right, because it can thin your blood too much if you did more than the recommended, and the recommended is sufficient. Can you eat pumpkin seeds as they are with a hard outer shell? I know some people who do. When it's freshly drawn from the pumpkin, as they freshly draw it from the pumpkin, they show me, watch, I'm eating it. It's not that hard. Okay, if you chew it well. And yeah, but if once it's dried, it's going to be too fibrous, and you don't want to be ingesting that before it starts to damage your colon. Is intermittent fasting beneficial to a diabetic? It is. Every time we eat a meal, we find that our glucose levels will rise. So individuals who would go to eat several meals in a day, no, because every time you eat, your glucose level will rise, which is normal. But you're going to be consistently having high glucose levels in the body because we repeated these small portions of food. So we want the spacing. And if you can do the 2 meals, Then you have the long hour, as someone showed just now, if they ate between 3 and 4. But say you eat between 2 and 3, like most of my people would do, between 2 and 3, then 3 p.m., 3 a.m. is 12 hours, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, and 5. That's 17 hours of fasting before their breakfast at 8. They're fine. They're okay. They're good. We check the blood sugars in the morning and it's what it is. So it works for them. Now, the food needs to be in a right combination. That one, you have your fiber, you have your protein, you also have that fat, plant-based fat at the end of your meal with your close handful of nuts and seeds, and that can help to carry you out so that you don't get dips in your sugar. Another thing that's important as you're on a total plant diet is to make sure you're talking to your physician so that your medication can be adjusted, because as the diet is changed and you're walking, you're sleeping earlier and better and everything through the night, you're calm, you're less stressed and so on, your glucose numbers, it's going to normalize soon, quickly, and it's going to reduce. And if you were to take the quantity of medication that you're currently taking, it's going to be a problem. Your glucose will drop lower than you imagine. And that's going to be a problem. So connect with your healthcare provider, your physician, and say, look, I've made some dietary changes and this is my chart. I'm checking my blood pressure every night and every morning. I'm checking my blood sugar every night and every morning. I'm checking my blood sugar 2 hours after I finish eat. Record that so that your doctor can see the shift and the change that you've made and how it's reducing your blood sugar, and make the adjustments to your medication. That is hugely important, because if you took the amount of medication that you're accustomed to taking, your glucose numbers will bottom out on you. You can faint, you can pass out, you can go into a coma, you can die. And that has happened to individuals. So be careful with the change. It works. And because it works, that's your new medicine. Diet is your new medicine. Walking is your new medicine. Sleep is your new medicine. The fasting period is your new medicine. And you're feeling healthy for it. All right. So you're doing something as opposed to not doing anything. You're doing something. So your body's improving. We don't need to be on the meds. And that's where you want to get to, where you do have to get off your medication at some point. What food can be eaten to lower creatinine? Creatinine, that is where you're looking at the filtering of your kidneys. And so there's a list. If you message me directly, I can help you with that. There's a list of foods that you could have and should not have to help to your kidneys to not have too much potassium and phosphorus. So you need to get that nice balance. So your green leafy, no. What foods can you have? You can have carrots. You can have carrots, you can have cabbage, cooked. Certain foods you need to boil them, leach them, all of that. So there's a special listing for that. Maybe I should present that soon. Okay, I can take that note. Do this after the diabetes, seeing that they're so related. So I'll do that, the kidney diet. Thank you. Give me my next topic. All right. So the avoid snacking. So folks who do 3 meals, 6, 12, and 6 are good options for timing. Avoid snacking in between meals. Studies show that diabetics do better on 2 meals a day rather than 3 or more. It also helps them to lose weight and lower sugar levels. Drink water in between your meals. No juice at all of any kind. And 15 to 20 minutes before a meal and 2 hours after a meal. When you drink water after 15 to 20 or 30 minutes before a meal, you stop drinking water, you eat your food, and then 2 hours later is when you can come back and drink your water, not too soon because you will dilute the gastric juices and delay digestion of your food. This is what a plate looks like, and we've done plates, but this is what your plate looks like. So I think we can look at that. Oop. Okay, I have some examples. All right. So our plate. So you want to always start off your food with a raw item, your meal with a raw food item. And then half of the plate, you're looking for the fiber, great amounts. This part, you're looking for fiber. All over, you're looking for fiber. But all of, say, those soluble fibers, your green leafies, and all of that, you have it half here. And then the top quarter portion, you have your predominant carbohydrate foods, such as your grains, or you may have some root items like a sweet potato. And then your protein here on this side, your peas and your beans, and end with your seeds or with your nuts. Okay, so for example, banana, not all of these banana, just you can have one or two. And pumpkin, so this is like pumpkin or squash. This is cooked and smashed up, but it can be chunky bits. And then you have your brown rice and your peas here, and your closed handful of nuts. So this is how our diabetics would eat. And when they eat like this for breakfast, you can eat like this for your lunch meal. You will not feel hungry until your next meal time. Okay. If you don't have arthritis, you can eat tomatoes. This is eggplant. Can be helpful. Root items, not all of this. Take one little piece or two. And then you have lots of your beans and your closed handful of your nuts. You may have bread, not too much. Again, look for your protein content here. Eat lots of lettuce in this combination so that you get more fiber, closed with a handful of nuts. And spinach, so you have nice green fiber. You have your lettuce to start, the raw item. You have your spinach, that's your cooked half of the plate. You have your brown rice, and you have your legumes. You end your meal with fats. Looks simple enough. What do you think? Doable? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so someone is asking,
Look doable. I was saying that yes, it looked doable.
okay, thanks. So
The
someone is
pumpkin,
asking, what about peas? Go
when you
ahead.
air fry the pumpkin, it tastes like sweet potatoes. Just if anyone's never tried that, it almost takes on a flavor of sweet potatoes. The pumpkin.
Wow. Yeah, the sweetness come out. Okay. Um, yeah, so these are food. Let's see if we have any. Okay, no more. So question about what about teas without sweetener? Of course, if you're drinking tea, don't need to add sweetener. Do not add sweetener. For diabetes or other, once we add sweetener to the teas, we change the composition, and we're drinking teas for a specific purpose. So no sweetener to the teas. You can have your sweetener, sorry, you can have your teas in between your meal times. That's
Okay.
fine. The 2 hours after you finish eating is when you can eat, when you can, my brain is getting off, when you can drink your tea. 2
So
hours.
it's okay to have tea like when I say herbal tea like natural mint, rosemary, and so forth.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay. So list of teas. We have that coming up in another session, the different types of teas. And so we only got through with the diet tonight. Let me show you the glycemic index quick. We only got through with the diet, and then we have the lifestyle to do. So next session we'll do the lifestyle, and then we will have the supplements and the teas to drink. Okay, so I'm gonna just pop up quickly the glycemic index, but I would share this in the WhatsApp chat, so make sure you're in the chat that you will get it. So this is what the document looks like. Okay, so we're looking at glycemic index. So you see the numbers from 55 and less, you have a low glycemic index, and that you can have. All right, those foods are within in those ranges where the sugar, glucose, glycemic index, it's lower. So you can look at having those. But then you have medium. If the number ascribed to the particular food is between 56 to 69, that's medium. Moderate amounts. And then high glycemic index when it's like in 70 and above. Those you would use in limited amounts, sparingly. And then the whole thing about the glycemic load is where you have that just tells you about the amount, the serving size. So sometimes I might use something that has a moderate glucose count, but little portion, not too much. Because if you go increase the load now, you have too much, it's going to be a problem. So this is glycemic index. So remember someone asked about cabbage, 15, right? So cabbage here, glycemic index, 15. Cauliflower, 15. Look, all of these vegetables have a low glycemic index. If you want to play it safe and just want to see your glucose numbers low, eat vegetables for your meals, and you'd be pleased. You would see the numbers are lower. And that's why when we eat these foods, our numbers are usually low. So if you were to take medication on top of that, it's going to become too low for us. So we want to eat like bamboo shoots, carrots, broccoli cooked, broccoli cooked, beets 65, pumpkin 65, pumpkin 65. So the young lady mentioned about pumpkin. We'll give that sweet because it is sweet. It's 65. So that's in the yellow band, the moderate amounts. We gotta watch that. We can't have too much of it in one meal, okay? In one meal. Chickpea, and so all the beans are nice. So if you have a meal with vegetables, you have the beans, and then you go for a low grain or something, automatically when you check your glucose numbers, it's going to be lower. And you walk on top of that, and you get good sleep on top of that. That's why individuals have better results, and they're able to now reduce their medication and continue doing the same things every day, drop the oil and the heavy fats from the diet. Those cells respond again. They become insulin receptive. They're able to take the glucose from the bloodstream, put it into the liver cell for storage, put it into the muscle cell for storage, and your blood sugar, when tested, will not be high anymore. So the food play a big role in it. And so in this listing, I didn't even put the animal foods and so on, but I could share the website where it is that you could see the animal foods are higher in glycemic index. Fruit juice. Okay, and this is the freshly squeezed one. Apple juice higher. Vegetable juices. And when you consume these items and then you go check your blood sugar, you would be able to tell, how it worked itself out. It kept your glucose level high for so long. Grains. So bran, wheat, oats, sprouted grains, lower. Okay, because from the time they sprout, they come almost like a vegetable to you. Barley, gourd, that's a whole barley, low amount. So if you eat barley along with some veggies and some legumes, your glucose number is not going to be high. it's going to be lower. Okay, but oatmeal, and millet and sorghum and corn, right? So corn already has a high glycemic index in here. Corn flakes, look at it, 85. So folks who would eat these things. Instant oat
One
flour.
question. What's the
Yeah.
difference between pearl barley and barley grits?
So the body growths.
Yeah.
So that could very well be the pearl barley. So the growths is usually like you have oat growths is when it's whole. It's not pressed or chipped up in any form.
Okay. Because I'm looking down here and the other barley pearl is like 60.
Oh, okay.
They're different. Okay. They're different.
Yeah. Yep. So in different forms, it either increases or it breaks down. So where we saw corn having 65, but cornmeal now is 70. So just because it's processed, it's broken down, it
Oh,
shoots
okay. Okay.
the glycemic index. Rice porridge mix. So
Wow.
yeah. So we have that send this to you and you sort of play around with it and the chart. So this is just like giving examples as to what how that chart looked like. Some of those things you may like or not. But so we put that in the WhatsApp for you. Okay. Let's wrap up. Let's wrap up with our, what do you think? Recipe for
Recipe.
you guys were so ecstatic about your the
The lentil loaf was good.
yes, and I know, oh my battery's gone. The lentil loaves were so, it tasted really good. I must tell you, when I did mine too, yeah, it was good. So that's what we did on Sabbath. We actually had some oatmeal, and that's the rolled oats. So you get more fiber in it as compared to the quick oats. No, we don't do like the quick oats for that. So you do the roll oats, and then we had the lentil roast on the side, and that tasted so good.
Could you use the sprouted oats? Is that a good oat to use?
Yes, yeah, you can do the sprouted oats. So anywhere you can increase your fiber content. Okay, so recipe of the week. I think I had this talk here because I spoke about this last week, but this is the recipe for the tofu meal. So it's just using the water pack tofu, or the singular tofu in the box, one of those. Then you have 2 to 3 teaspoons of lemon juice, 1.5 teaspoon of sweetener, a half teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt, and you blend all of that together. Now, one of the things with diabetes, in this recipe here, by adding this sweetener wouldn't necessarily make it sweet because of the other items that it has. So it's really to enhance the flavor. And you may not, if you're making it for you, you will want to just put a little drop in it for the flavor. It's not going to be like a sweetened beverage item. So you can play around with it here and you can still use this safely. And of course, you have it with other food item that has fiber. So we had talked last week about this was an option that you can use on your lentil roast. But then I made a tomato sauce. Well, I just got some tomatoes, maybe like about 10, and washed them up nicely. So let's cut off the little eye part on the top. And no, I mean, well, yeah, I did that. And then I put it into a dish, a ceramic bowl, and I pour some hot water in it and I let it soak for about 5 minutes. So you pour the hot water so I can peel the skin off, because if I'm making a sauce, I didn't want to have anything seedy in it or skins in here. So I took the skin off. The hot water will raise the skin off easily. And then I sliced it down the middle and I took the seeds out. And now I have the tomatoes itself. I put it in a blend in my NutriBullet. Next, I'm looking for some lemon juice because I'm going to sort of play with my flavors a little. I would have added a squirt of the agave in here, but you can do honey, which would be a better option. I just put sweetener. To taste. Okay, so if we did this, so it was the salt, the onion powder. Onion tend to give a sweet taste, in render a sweet taste. And then I just literally squirt sweetener and on water, and you blend this. I blend it and then I put it on the stove top to heat up a bit because I know I want it to last for a couple of days. One thing that I did was to get some tapioca. I should write this in here. So I got some tapioca to make it like a little starchy, and that's a tapioca in water. So you know what is tapioca? These little granules. You may have it in the powder or the granules. So I had the granules and I put it in water, and you gotta add water and keep stirring, stirring till you get a nice clear finish. And once you got that, you add it to the sauce and it thickens the sauce. So when you drip it and it thickens and it gives a smooth finish. So when you drip that on your lentils, it wouldn't be runny all over the place, and it adds some body to it. So then you blend everything, you simmer it for about 10-15 minutes, keep stirring, and you're good to go. Serve and refrigerate the rest. It held out quite nicely. Arrowroot, yeah, you can do some arrowroot. You can do some cornstarch as well. Yep. What sweetener I used? I used agave. That's what I had. But literally it was just bottle over, squirt, squeeze it, and that's it a little bit. How long it will last in the how long will it last in the refrigerator, the tofu mayo? About a week. Yep, about a week. Now it's tofu mayo, right? So it's tofu, so you can put it on everything. Put it on your rice, on your bread, on your potatoes. If you think you have it too long, make a macaroni pie. That's what we did today. We did a macaroni pie. We got the spaghetti, the rice, long strand spaghetti, and I need to show you guys these pictures. They're quite good. And the folks actually went back for seconds today in today's meal. So the tofu, you can make your boil your macaroni or your spaghetti, and then you pour the tofu over it as your sauce, and then you can bake that. So in that way, you will have good stuff. Yeah. Let's see, cornstarch. Okay, how much water you should use? About a cup. And the tomatoes. So it depends on the amount of tomatoes sauce that you're looking for. There's agave spike in insulin. It will. Use chickpeas macaroni. Okay, good. So yeah, it will. But if the amount that you add to it. So like in this recipe, literally it's just a little bit. And when I say to taste, you don't want this wouldn't taste sweet, but because of the sour flavor from the tomatoes, you want to balance it over. So once you use it to adjust taste, it wouldn't have the kind of impact as if you sweetened something. Like if you sweetened milk or you sweetened juice, you know, and even the juice is, what is it? Or you sweeten your tea. So you watch, but test yourself and you would see. Now we have, okay. So I think instead of,
Good morning. Quick question, if you don't mind.
yeah, go ahead.
What are your thoughts about monk fruit? That's a form of sweetener. Monk fruit, familiar with that?
I
Okay. All right.
am not familiar, but it
Okay.
sounds like it can be used as a sweetener, just like how you have bananas that you can use as a sweetener. Yeah.
But sometimes even some of these sweeteners can be actually worse than sugar because
Right.
they're processed. I've never used it, but I see it in the supermarket. I tend to use stevia.
Okay,
The
yeah.
mhm.
I've never used any of that for my patient, but I hear it's very, very sweet, the monk fruit. So
Okay.
Okay. Um, Good. Thanks for sharing. Um, so that's what we have there. Let me just see if I can add my little today's pictures. Let's pull this up from my foot. This is the macaroni pie. And then we had a slab of tofu layer. So you did put some of the macaroni in there. So this would have been like the cashew cheese, so cashew, water, lemon, a sweetener bit again, because you're looking to break that sour taste. That's all to it. The cashew sauce wouldn't be sweet. It's just breaking it, the sour taste. And your salt, and you blend that all up in water. It's going to become creamy. You mix that around in your macaroni. But we did have a layer of tofu in here, sliced tofu, that when you bit into it, you're getting all this chewy bit. It was quite good with some veggies in the background and stuff. So I took a nice close-up shot there. And let me quickly pull up this one. So this one, it's the lentil roast. So I didn't get to take picture of the lentils. I did put it, yeah, I did get a picture, but I didn't get it with the sauce. Now this I added the granules after. I didn't get to blend it. So I'm telling you to blend it first, right? Blend everything. But when I made it, this was melting a whole time passing. So I just mixed it all in. So some people saw it, not everybody noticed it at the table, but it's remained. There is one more. So that's what, and I know some of you made your lentil roast and you placed it in the chat and talked about it. So that's very good, good, good. But the picture with the bowl with the sauce, that was it. And you get quite a lot. So what I was saying is that when you eat your cereal, and then you eat your lentil roast with it. Right there, you get your legumes. And like we mentioned it in a previous session, make sure you have your peas and your beans with these foods, so that you can get your protein in and you can get that nice balance in. Okay. All right, so let's see to wrap up here. Huh. Okay, if I were to make this a little bigger, I just pull this from my phone. Let's see. There's a porridge and bread. All right, so there's the lentil roast. Okay, so that's it cut up. And you can refrigerate this if it's too much for you. You can refrigerate it. And people who are working, it's a quick pull. If you didn't get to cook your peas and so on, just to make sure you continue to eat healthy, you pull one of these and you warm it up and it's good to go. Yeah. And we have on nuts. So those who could have tolerated, the persons with diabetes wouldn't take the sweet fruit, but you can have your nuts. So we sort of portion out the nuts. And we have our ground flaxseed there in that white container here, ground flaxseed, and chia seed was next to it, to go with the oat porridge and stuff. All right. So let's go recipe of scripture of the week. Okay, I'll post the lentil roast in the chat. Are you in our chat? Because we posted, but I'll post it again. I just say that as to why I didn't show it now. Yeah. Can you freeze the tofu mayo in batches? Yeah, try freezing and then blend over when you're ready and see, but not for overly too long because I don't know, tofu by itself when the containers we would freeze sometimes. Especially if I know I don't have immediate use for it. But after a while it spoils. After a while when you thaw it out, it just crumbles apart. So it cannot last for very long. It may last a month, but over that 2 months to 3 months, it's gonna go bad. Right? Scripture of the week. Psalm 34:22, and it says, "The Lord redeemeth the soul of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be desolate." All right, so it's a scripture of comfort. You put your trust in the Lord, that he's going to see you through with whatever challenges you have today, be it health challenges, be it financial challenges, relationship challenges, whatever, work challenges, whatever it is, let's continue to trust in him. There is no other answer that works. So trust in him, and he promises to redeem us. And you claim this promise and claim it at his word and ask him to bless you. All right. So with that, we have come to the end of our session at this time. Let's put the links in the chat for you. If you do have any questions, please, now is the time to ask.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nash.
Hi, hello, Sister Elver. You're welcome. See, Monday Night Live. Okay, so it should be in the invitation that you got for the session today, but if it's just under the link. So keep looking under the link that I'm going to put it in here, Monday Night Live WhatsApp group. That's that one. Then if you're interested in the topic on diabetes, so next week we will do the lifestyle as well as the herbal agents. We will get to that point on the Monday Night Live program. But if you need more information on diabetes, it would be good to join the diabetes chat.